Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever felt like someone was watching you? Not just glancing in your direction, but observing, analyzing, and keeping track of your every move? Well, let me assure you he is. I'm not talking about your boss, the government, or even the cameras on every street corner. I'm talking about someone far more powerful, far more attentive, and far more invested in your every action. He, whether you believe in him as God, fate, or the energy that governs our universe, sees everything you do. And what you do, even in secret, matters more than you think. In today's world, many people believe they can act without consequences as long as no one is watching. They think that what happens behind closed doors, in the silence of the night, or in the secrecy of their thoughts remains invisible. But the truth is, nothing is ever truly hidden. Every action, no matter how small or secret, leaves a mark. The words spoken in anger, the lies whispered in secrecy, the promises broken when no one is looking. Each of these things may seem insignificant in the moment, but they carry weight. They shape who we are, influence our future, and often resurface in ways we never expected. History has proven time and time again that secrets have a way of coming to light. The things we try to bury have a way of resurfacing, whether through consequences, through guilt, or even through unforeseen circumstances that bring the truth to the surface. The world has witnessed powerful people fall because of actions they thought were hidden. Relationships have crumbled, reputations have been destroyed, and opportunities have been lost, all because someone believed they could act in secret without repercussions. But it's not just about exposure, it's about the unseen forces that track our actions. Some call it karma, others call it divine judgment, and some see it as the simple law of cause and effect. Whenever you believe, one thing remains certain: what you do in the dark will eventually impact your life in ways you may not anticipate. Think about it. Every dishonest act, no matter how well hidden, changes you. It alters the way you see yourself, how you carry yourself, and how you interact with the world. The weight of hidden guilt can wear down even the strongest person, even if no one else knows you know. And if you believe in a higher power, you must also understand that he knows. But this truth isn't just about wrongdoing. It also applies to acts of kindness, generosity, and love. The good you do in secret is just as powerful as the bad. A kind gesture that no one sees, a sacrifice made with no expectation of recognition, or a moment of selflessness that goes unnoticed by the world, these things, too, are seen. They are recorded in ways that are beyond human comprehension. In the end, the idea that no one is watching is a dangerous illusion. Even when you believe your actions are hidden from others, they are still shaping you, defining your character, and influencing your destiny. Every step you take, whether in light or darkness, is leading you somewhere. But our thoughts exist in a private world, locked away in our minds, invisible to anyone but ourselves. But what if I told you that even the thoughts you assume are secret play a powerful role in shaping your reality? What if your inner world is the foundation upon which your entire life is built? Our thoughts are not meaningless whispers that vanish into thin air. They are the seeds of our actions, the architects of our choices, and the silent forces directing the course of our lives. Everything you say, every decision you make, every habit you develop, all of it originates from a thought. Before you tell a lie, you think about it. Before you lash out in anger, you dwell on frustration. Before you take a step forward in life or remain stuck in the same place, you make that decision in your mind first. Consider this: a person who constantly entertains thoughts of fear, self-doubt, or negativity will eventually see those fears manifest in their life. They may never take the risks needed to grow, never believe in their own abilities, or never seize the opportunities that come their way. They will unknowingly sabotage their own progress because their thoughts have already set the course of their actions. On the other hand, a person who nurtures thoughts of confidence, self-improvement, and positivity will see those qualities reflected in their life. They will walk with purpose, speak with conviction, and attract opportunities that align with their mindset. Their thoughts create an energy that influences how others see them, how they see themselves, and ultimately the path their life takes. Many people underestimate the power of their minds. They assume that as long as they don't act on a thought, it holds no power over them. But the reality is, repeated thoughts become beliefs, and beliefs shape behavior. If you constantly think about failure, you will begin to expect it. If you constantly dwell on resentment, you will become bitter. If you constantly imagine yourself as a victim, you will live life feeling powerless. Even when no one else knows what's going on inside your head, he does. Whether you believe in God, the universe, or a spiritual force that governs all things, understand this: your thoughts are not hidden. They are known. And they are shaping the person you are becoming. Think of your mind as a garden. The thoughts you allow to grow will eventually bear fruit. If you plant seeds of anger, envy, and selfishness, they will take root and influence everything you do. But if you plant seeds of love, patience, and wisdom, you will reap the rewards of a life filled with purpose and fulfillment. The choice is yours. Who are you when no one is watching? That is the truest measure of your character. It is easy to wear a mask in front of others, to present ourselves as honest, kind, and disciplined when there is an audience. But when the lights are off, when no one is around to witness our actions, that is when our real nature is exposed. Society often rewards appearances. We praise those who seem moral, ethical, and good-hearted in public. But a person's true worth is not determined by their reputation. It is determined by their integrity when there is no one to impress, no one to judge, and no one to hold them accountable except themselves. Think about the small moments in life that reveal character. Do you return the extra change when a cashier makes a mistake? Do you help someone in need even when there's no camera to capture it? Do you stay faithful to your commitments even when no one would know if you broke them? These choices, made in secret, define who you truly are. The world has seen many powerful figures, leaders, celebrities, and even religious figures who appeared righteous in public, but were later exposed for their hidden wrongdoings. Why? Because no matter how long you hide behind an image, the truth has a way of revealing itself. A dishonest person cannot hide their true nature forever. The lies they tell in private eventually surface. The habits they indulge in when alone eventually spill into their public life. And the lack of integrity they thought was invisible becomes clear for all to see. On the other hand, those who cultivate good character in private will eventually shine, even if no one is watching right away. A person who practices discipline behind closed doors, who remains kind even when there is no reward, who chooses honesty even when deception is ear. These are the people whose goodness is not a performance but a way of life. Think of a tree with deep roots. Even when no one sees the roots growing underground, they provide the strength and stability that allow the tree to stand tall. In the same way, the strength of your character is not built when people are watching. It is built in the moments when you think no one is. But remember this: you are never truly alone. Even in the moments when you believe no one sees, he does. Whether you believe in God, the universe, or simply the power of truth, know that your actions in private have consequences. They shape not only your future, but your very soul. Every choice you make in secret is either strengthening your character or weakening it. Accountability is often misunderstood. Many see it as a burden, something that limits their freedom, forces them to explain themselves, or holds them back from doing what they want. But in reality, accountability is one of the most powerful forces for growth, discipline, and success. It is not a punishment. It is a tool that helps us stay true to our values, avoid self-deception, and reach our highest potential. Think about this: when you know that someone is watching you, you naturally put more thought into your actions. A student who knows the teacher is observing will stay focused. An employee who knows their work is being monitored will be more productive. A person driving on the road will be more cautious if they know there's a traffic camera ahead. The simple act of being observed changes behavior. But what happens when you believe no one is watching? That's when the temptation to cut corners, to be lazy, to make selfish choices, or to ignore responsibilities becomes stronger. Without accountability, discipline fades and self-control weakens. That's why people often struggle with bad habits in private. They may act disciplined in public but given to temptation when alone because they believe no one will ever know. However, what if you lived your life knowing that you are always being watched? Not by surveillance cameras, not by society, but by a higher power that sees everything. Whether you call it God, karma, or the laws of the universe, there is an unseen presence that knows your actions, your thoughts, and your true intentions. Living with this awareness is not about fear, it is about wisdom. It is about understanding that real accountability comes from within. True accountability does not require external enforcers. The strongest, most disciplined people in the world do not need someone watching over them to do the right thing. They hold themselves accountable because they understand that their choices shape their destiny. They know that cutting corners in private will eventually lead to failure in public. They know that dishonesty, even if no one else finds out, corrupts their character. And they know that every action, no matter how small, has consequences. Think about great athletes, musicians, or successful professionals. They did not reach the top because someone forced them to practice every day. They held themselves accountable to their own goals. They pushed themselves to do what was necessary, even when no one was watching. That is the power of accountability. It creates a level of personal responsibility that makes success inevitable. But accountability is not just about discipline, it is also about trust. People trust those who are accountable. When you live a life of integrity, when your private actions match your public words, people see you as reliable, honest, and worthy of respect. And more importantly, he trusts you. A higher power does not bless those who deceive themselves, who act one way in public and another way in private. He rewards those who stay true to their values, no matter the circumstance. Every choice we make, whether big or small, has a ripple effect. It may not be immediate, and it may not always be visible, but the consequences of our actions always find their way back to us. Some call it karma, some call it fate, and others believe it is divine justice. But no matter what you call it, one truth remains: nothing you do goes unnoticed, and nothing you do is without consequence. Too often people act as if their choices exist in isolation. They believe that what they do in private stays in private, that their wrongdoings will never catch up to them, or that small bad habits don't really matter. But life has a way of proving otherwise. A lie told in secret eventually unravels. A hidden betrayal eventually comes to light. And the negative choices we make behind closed doors slowly erode our character until they manifest in our public lives. On the flip side, positive actions also carry consequences. Acts of kindness, honesty, and discipline, even when no one sees them, build a strong foundation that leads to greater opportunities, deeper relationships, and a life filled with purpose. The good we do, just like the bad, will eventually return to us. Consider a seed planted in the ground. At first, nothing seems to happen. Days, weeks, even months may pass without any visible sign of growth. But beneath the surface, something is happening. The roots are taking hold, the plant is forming, and at the right time, it will break through the soil and reveal what's always growing beneath. Our actions work the same way. The things we do in secret, whether good or bad, are growing beneath the surface of our lives, waiting for the right moment to emerge. People often assume that consequences only apply to major decisions like committing a crime, cheating in a relationship, or betraying a friend. But even the smallest actions can shape our lives. The way you speak to people, the habits you build in private, the thoughts you entertain, all of these contribute to the person you become and the path your life takes. A small act of dishonesty here, a moment of laziness there, a negative thought repeated over and over, it all adds up. And eventually the results become undeniable. But consequences don't always appear in obvious ways. Sometimes they come in the form of lost opportunities. A person who constantly cuts corners and avoids responsibility may find themselves stuck in the same place, never advancing, never achieving their true potential. Sometimes consequences come in the form of internal struggles, guilt, anxiety, or an unshakable feeling that something is missing. And sometimes they appear when the truth finally comes to light, exposing what was once hidden for all to see. The reality is, there's no such thing as getting away with something. You may avoid immediate punishment. You may escape human judgment, but the weight of your actions will always find a way to settle into your life. And just as bad choices create negative consequences, good choices create positive ones. Every small act of discipline strengthens your character. Every choice to do the right thing builds trust. Every moment of honesty, kindness, and hard work shapes a future that will reflect those values. The universe is not random. The energy you put into the world will always come back to you, whether in ways you expect or in ways you never could have predicted. He's watching not to punish, but to remind you that every action, no matter how small, is shaping your destiny. Look around you. Everything in your life right now, your relationships, your financial situation, your health, your peace of mind is a reflection of the decisions you have made over time. Your life did not just happen to you by accident. It is the result of the choices, habits, and actions you have taken, whether consciously or unconsciously. Many people blame their circumstances on luck, fate, or other people, but the truth is, your life is a mirror that reflects your decisions. Every single choice, no matter how small, contributes to the bigger picture of who you are and where you are headed. If you are unhappy with your life, you must first examine your choices. Consider this: two people may start with the same opportunities, the same resources, and the same challenges. Yet years later, one may be thriving while the other is struggling. What made the difference? Their decisions. The person who chose discipline over laziness, integrity over deception, and growth over stagnation will naturally rise above the one who consistently made careless or self-destructive choices. But the problem is that many people fail to see the connection between their daily decisions and their long-term outcomes. They underestimate how small actions add up over time. For example, a person who spends ignoring their health will eventually face the consequences of those choices. A person who neglects their relationships, treating people poorly, or taking loved ones for granted will one day find themselves lonely and disconnected. A person who avoids responsibility and always looks for shortcuts will struggle with failure and regret. On the other hand, those who make wise decisions, choosing honesty, consistency, and self-improvement will see their lives flourish. The person who works hard and remains patient will eventually achieve success. The person who values relationships and invests in others will experience deep and meaningful connections. The person who seeks knowledge and growth will always be ahead of those who remain stagnant. It is important to understand that no decision exists in isolation. The choices you make today will determine the opportunities and challenges you face tomorrow. If you want a better future, you must start making better decisions now. You cannot expect success while making lazy choices. You cannot expect love while treating others poorly. You cannot expect peace while filling your mind with negativity and resentment. And here's the most important part. He is watching. Not to control you, but to remind you that every choice has a consequence. You may think your small decisions don't matter, but over time they shape the entire course of your life. Nothing is random. The energy you put into the world, the actions you take when no one is watching, the way you treat people, and the way you handle your responsibilities, all of it is being reflected back at you. If you are not satisfied with where you are in life, do not look for someone to blame. Instead, look inward. Ask yourself, what decisions have led me to this point? What habits have I allowed to shape my life? What can I change today that will create a better future for me? You have the power to transform your life, but it starts with understanding that everything you do matters. Nothing is forgotten, nothing is ignored, and nothing is without consequence. The life you see before you is not a mystery, it is a reflection of the choices you have made. Many people believe that what happens in their private thoughts and actions remains locked away, unseen, and without consequence. They convince themselves that as long as no one else knows, it doesn't matter. But the truth is, even your secrets shape your future. Every hidden decision, every concealed action, and every unspoken thought is actively working behind the scenes, influencing your path in ways you may not realize. Secrets carry weight. Whether they are small lies, personal struggles, or deep regrets, they shape who you are, how you behave, and how you interact with the world. A person who harbors resentment in secret will eventually see that bitterness seep into their words and relationships. Someone who secretly indulges in dishonesty will find it harder and harder to maintain trust with others. Even if no one else knows, and that knowledge affects your decisions, emotions, and self-image. The power of secrets is that they do not remain contained. Like a seed planted in the soil, they may stay buried for a while, but eventually they grow into something real, something that will manifest in your life, whether you want it to or not. A person who hides a bad habit, thinking it won't affect them, will one day face the consequences when that habit takes control. Someone who secretly mistreats others or takes advantage of people will one day find themselves without true friends or allies. And those who build their lives on hidden lies will eventually find their foundation crumbling when the truth emerges. But secrets don't only shape your future through external consequences, they also change you from within. When you live with hidden guilt, fear, or dishonesty, you carry an invisible burden that affects your confidence, happiness, and ability to connect with others. It creates an internal struggle, a constant battle between who you pretend to be and who you really are. This kind of inner conflict drains energy, steals peace, and makes it difficult to move forward in life. On the other hand, those who live with honesty and transparency experience true freedom. They don't have to waste energy maintaining lies, hiding mistakes, or fearing exposure. They can walk with confidence, knowing that their private lives align with their public image. They don't have to live in fear of the truth coming out because they are already living in truth. It is easy to believe that as long as no one else knows, secrets are harmless. But what is hidden today will always find a way to surface tomorrow. Whether through direct consequences, personal struggles, or even divine intervention, the truth has a way of making itself known. And remember, even if the world never discovers your secrets, he already knows. He sees not just your actions, but your heart, your thoughts, and your intentions. There is nothing hidden from him, and he is not fooled by appearances. What you do in secret is not just about avoiding consequences. It is about who you are becoming. In a world where appearances often take priority over authenticity, it is easy to believe that what others see is all that matters. Many people work hard to maintain a perfect image, carefully curating their words, actions, and even social media presence to make sure they are perceived in the best light. But while we can control how others see us, we cannot hide from the one who sees all. He sees what others cannot. You can fool people, but you cannot fool him. You can wear a mask in public, but he knows what lies beneath it. He sees the motives behind your actions, the truth behind your words, and the thoughts that never leave your lips. While people may judge based on what they observe on the surface, he looks deeper into your heart, your mind, and your soul. Think about the times you've done something just to impress others. Perhaps you gave to charity, but your real motivation was recognition. Maybe you showed kindness, but only because it benefited you. Perhaps you apologized, not because you were truly sorry, but because it was expected of you. Others might see those actions and praise you, believing you to be a good and selfless person. But he sees the truth. He knows whether your heart was in the right place, or if your actions were empty gestures. Likewise, he sees the struggles you never voice, the silent battles you fight when no one is around. He knows the pain you hide, the fears you refuse to admit, and the doubts that keep you awake at night. While the world may see you as strong and confident, he sees the moments when you feel weak, lost, or uncertain. Even when you feel invisible, unheard, or alone, you are never truly unseen. This is both a warning and a source of comfort. It is a warning because it reminds us that we cannot live two lives, one for the public and one in private without consequences. A person who acts one way in front of others but lives a different way behind closed doors will eventually be exposed. No lie lasts forever, no deception remains hidden. Just as shadows disappear when exposed to light, the truth about who you really are will always come to the surface. But it is also a comfort because it means that you are truly known. You don't have to pretend with him. You don't have to act like you have everything figured out. You don't have to hide your flaws, your weaknesses, or your failures. He already knows, and yet he still watches over you, not with judgment alone, but with love, guidance, and the opportunity for redemption. Even when no one else notices your struggles, he does. When you do the right thing and receive no praise, he sees. When you sacrifice for others and get no recognition, he knows. When you stay honest, disciplined, and faithful, even when no one else is looking, he is looking. The world may not always acknowledge your goodness, but he does. And that is what truly matters, not what others think of you, but what he knows about you. At the DA, you may be able to deceive others, hide your actions, and craft a flawless image, but you can never escape the truth. He's watching you more closely than you think. Not to condemn you, but to guide you. Not to punish you, but to remind you that every choice you make, whether in public or in private, matters. Your life is a reflection of your decisions. Your secrets shape your future, and your actions, seen or unseen, carry consequences. But this is not just a message of caution, it is also a message of hope. Because if every action has an effect, that means you have the power to change your life, starting now. If there are things you regret, know that it is never too late to make things right. If you have been living a double life, now is the time to align your private self with the values you claim to hold. If you have been discouraged, feeling as though your good deeds go unnoticed, remember that he sees, and what he sees matters more than any human approval. So live with integrity. Make choices that honor who you truly are. Act as if the world is watching, even when it is not, because he always is. And in the end, it is not the praise of people that will define your worth, but the truth of who you are when no one is looking.